Hello, arty peoples, and welcome to another episode of Jerry's Live. My name is Emmy Klein, and I'm your host this evening. And as you can see, we have a person here with us today.
Hello.
Yay. So everybody, please welcome Cameron Baker. Barker. I'm so sorry.
Different
Cameron
trade
Barker.
name. Yep.
That's very true. Cameron here is going to be showing us some really, really cool Liquitex acrylics today.
Yes.
Specifically new acrylics, right?
Yes, yeah, a new addition to our basics line, which are the metallics line. So we're introducing eight new metallic basics. So in our basics line, we have 80 colors at this point.
Oh my gosh.
And we have some iridescents already that are part of the basics.
Familiar with that. We have 5 or 6.
I think it's
about 6.
Yes,
right?
I believe so. So we have kind of like our alloy colors. Like we have the bronzes, the golds, the rose gold that's really gorgeous. And then we also have the iridescent white.
Yes.
But we also were noticing that folks wanted to expand that metallic range, and they also wanted to be able to incorporate some of the metallics into their painting and into their painting palettes.
I love this.
So we were thinking, you know what, like let's get a little bit more saturated. We can incorporate some more of this mica powder that we can talk about in a little bit. And now we have these really beautiful opaque colors that come in 2 sizes, one in the 0.74 and then one in the 4 fluid ounces. 4 fluid ounces available through Jerry's, which is fabulous.
Yes. Which is about this size.
Yes.
In case somebody's wondering.
And they also come in sets. So the sets have 6 colors, not including our metallic burnt orange and our metallic yellow gold, but all the rest.
Yes.
And then all individually on sale as well. So you can kind of mix and match whatever.
And these
you
are
feel.
some really stunning colors. I've been looking at these, and they are absolutely gorgeous, and I cannot wait to play with all of these today.
They're sick. I was really excited because especially with some of like the more metallic or like the sheen or the mica acrylics, a lot of times what will happen is that either it throws off the acrylic resin a little bit and then it's a little bit more transparent, or you need a lot of layers.
I've had that happen so many times. Where,
Totally.
like, especially when you want something like just a little shiny in just this one little spot, and you go to layer it on, and then it's just like not enough, and you 14 layers later, and you're there finally.
Exactly. And nothing wrong with transparency.
No.
In fact, like our iridescent white is kind of like a half opaque, which is really great. But we wanted to give an option where it's like, all right, I really want like a major punch of color, and I want a really major punch of shine.
And these are very punchy.
They are punchy. I mean, I can even kind of like, yeah, absolutely. Vanna White, gorge. Absolutely. And
look, that's stunning.
there is such an exciting
We'll have the overhead
body.
as well, so you guys can see a little bit more in detail.
Yes, absolutely. I forget we're flip-flopping.
No, it's okay. So there are all of the 8 new basic metallic colors. Now also, before I completely forget to tell everybody, if you are interested in checking out any of these acrylics or any of the materials that we're going to be using on the show today, go to the website JerrysArtarama.com and type in today's class code, which is JL393. If you type that in on our search bar at the top of the website, our teacher's cart will come up, and all of the products that we're using today are going to be in there, which includes these gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Oh my goodness. Like, I just want to...
I know. It's so cool. And it's kind of exciting too because you get to see like the body characteristics of the paint too.
Oh yeah.
That in some of this as well, we're gonna really flattened out, and you can still see, even with like the palette knife that really kind of scraped it to the surface, you can still see that luster that's happening.
Oh yeah.
And so I guess we should talk a little bit about why this has a luster at all, right? So
yes, please.
Essentially what we're using is the same formula for our acrylics basics. We have our vehicle, which is water, we have our binder, which is acrylic resin, and then we have our pigments. Now, what's being added alongside of our traditional color pigments is mica. So mica comes out of the ground as a really common mineral, and it's really flaky. In fact, like its Latin comes from the word for like crumbly or fragile, which then
did not know that.
Translated again from the same mineral to being shiny, which is kind of fab.
I do love that.
And so mica has been used really consistently for, I would say, a very long time. I don't want to give a number because I don't know.
We love sparkles. let's just, as a general human race, we love sparkles.
We love sparkles, and in fact, like the reason that your eye makeup is sparkly is probably because of mica as well. So it's using cosmetics.
I did use sparkly makeup for today specifically.
And we came prepared for sure. And so what's nice about that as well is that this is a material that comes from the earth, and so knowing that Liquitex is a B Corp, we know that it's sustainably sourced, that all of the folks who are involved are being paid fairly.
I love that.
And that we understand the kind of the environmental responsibilities of something like this that comes from the earth.
Which makes this already so gorgeous, but even better.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that remains safe, that we have something that's like, you know, that all of the materials come from a space that we understand where it came from, how it's being sourced, we're taking care of the planet, all that good stuff.
Love it.
Yes. So should we get on into our projects for the day?
Now, as a little side note, this right here, just for anybody who is wondering and very distracted by all the beautiful colors here, Michaela actually did do all the swatches. So this is the pure color straight out of the tube. And then this is our mixing chart. So you can actually just follow along where like, that's that, I believe, magenta mixed with a metallic blue makes this beautiful purple. Which is different from the other purple that we have available. And that's just kind of how this mixing chart works. Now, that does remind me also, Michaela was actually supposed to be here on the show today. She is feeling a little under the weather. So if Michaela is out there in the chat, we miss you and we want you to feel better.
You're with us in spirit for sure. Thank you for this gorgeous grid. Because it also does show that we have like a really decent value range as well, right? Especially when we look at our metallic red that then leads up to our metallic blue. We have a really nice deep tone. Right? So it allows for us, even without having a black, which there is in the basics line, there is a graphite iridescent that is like a much more of a deepening agent. It's like a really beautiful, rich gray. That if you did want to incorporate that into this palette as well, you're more than welcome to. It also has the mica incorporated.
Oh yeah.
So today I felt like, you know, I didn't necessarily have one project. I wanted to think about 3 different applications, maybe one that's a little bit more beginner, maybe for our younger artists or artists who are just kind of like dabbling, a little bit more of an intermediate moment, and then one that feels a little bit more advanced or just requires a little bit more planning.
I'm here for this.
So let's start off with the beginner if you're ready.
Yes,
and
ready to go. What
I want to go into the world of stenciling, and I just think that stencils are underutilized. I think this idea that it is maybe more beginner feels like it's a little bit, maybe it's like just once you reach a certain level of your artistic career, like you don't need them anymore, but that is just not. I think there's like such a utilization for stencils. I think they can be so complex, especially with this.
Really
there's something really exciting about it. So I want to introduce our example for today. And so
which is fun. I love the like the metallic on that, just like, is this the turquoisey blue?
So this blue is actually one of the Liquitex gouaches.
Oh,
so this is like a little cheat
so
on my...
these play well with gouache as well.
They do. So all of the Liquitex products all are compatible with each other.
Love it.
So every single Liquitex medium, every Liquitex line, the heavy body, the gouaches, the inks, all of them, their resins and their cores, all of them are interchangeable.
I love
so
this.
whenever you buy a Liquitex product, including like for example if you have the basics and then you also maybe have some more of the professional line, they work beautifully together. And in fact, I very commonly will work with the basics and the professional together. One of the main differences is that all of the basics, they come in a medium viscosity. Right, so for example, the professional, we have our soft body and our heavy body. And so here, we're just kind of like an in-between, and there's something kind of fab about that. I really like working with the basics in that way.
For anybody who is not familiar with soft body and heavy body, and that like that in between, what we're talking about, soft body is going to be more like, would you say like a cream kind of a viscosity, where it's not fluid like water, but it has a thickening kind of, a little bit thicker than water, but it's not stiff and icing like.
Exactly.
Heavy
it's
body,
pourable in a way.
yeah.
Slowly pourable.
Oh, for sure. And then heavy body, on the other hand, is more thick, like an icing is. So that consistency tends to be a little stiffer, and it retains more of those brush strokes and textures when you put those in.
Exactly.
In case you guys are wondering.
Yeah, and so this is a really beautiful in between. So
love it.
sometimes what'll happen, especially if you have something that's maybe less a color from the basic sets, maybe more of a transparent or a semi-opaque, you can then kind of work with that. Like I'll have like a basics in white, the mixing white, and if I don't necessarily want a lot of body, but I want that mixing white, I'll go to the basics.
I gotcha.
And so I get to kind of like go in between them a little bit, which is exciting.
Okay. Now, what are we going to do for the actual stencil portion of that?
Let's grab our paper. So here
Okay.
we are just working with a cardstock, an all-purpose paper. Winsor & Newton has a really beautiful, either like the watercolor papers are awesome, the heavy body papers, whatever else. But you know what you got laying around,
Yep.
that's going to be fabulous.
And that's exactly what this is. This is just throwaway paper we had in the studio. And I will say, if anybody is out there looking for something that's a little bit more of a reusable stencil, we were talking about this earlier. They have one that's available on our website that is, I think, Duralar brand graphics. So that is essentially the same thing. You just cut it. It's just a thicker, more durable plastic that you can then reuse over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah, and we love that. I mean, some of these stencils I use for the previous, and they're just kind of, again, like a paper that I found. I believe this is one of the Winsor & Newton papers.
Nice.
And there's a little bit of kind of like wiggle, but overall, very usable again.
They work perfectly.
And so I really love stencils for a few reasons, especially for my beginning artists. So working with younger folks, I think that like dealing with fine motor skills is something that can be a little bit of a challenge in the beginning, but then like once we get over that hurdle, it's really exciting, right? So I would say, especially for younger folks, maybe stay away from the X-Acto knives, but
Yeah, or have an adult do that for you.
right. Or
You can try your design and then the parent will cut it out.
you can do that,
Yep.
or you can also start a little something, right? So always cutting towards yourself, making sure that everything is away. And so, for example, if we want to have something like a petal, per se, right, we can always then start with a little tab, like so. And then they can tear in.
Ooh, that's fun. So
And that
kind of tearing
way-
the shape. It's a little bit more organic, and they can still kind of refine it a little bit.
Exactly. And that way
Very
then
nice.
they also don't necessarily feel like they had to have like a certain goal, right?
Okay.
And if it's not reached at this certain point, that's all right. It's also like, petals are always going to be a little bit more
Organic
Exactly.
and fun. Yeah.
have an exciting edge.
I love
but
that.
in our case, we might go in. So feel free to start your stencil if you
Okay.
would like. So you're going to draw in.
I
I'm
might
just going
draw
to go
something.
for it.
I'm going to actually ask the group real fast. A simple, something little shape. What am I drawing? Real fast.
What are you drawing?
Yeah.
Turtle.
A turtle. Okay, turtle it
Turtle.
is. Now, I think we have a question as well while we are sketching and cutting some things.
Yes,
Great.
we had two
Also, I'm
questions
gonna
right
actually
out the
ship
gate.
this
Um,
real fast so we can
James on
have.
YouTube was wondering if you can use these Liquitex products on a gesso primed panel, or if you could use it in a watercolor sketchbook.
Yes, you can use them in both. I think that a watercolor sketchbook is a good idea because it has so much body to it, right? It's meant to take on wet media, so that would be perfect. Canvas primed is also perfect. We're going to be working with the Liquitex recycled canvases today, so there it is. So these are made with 100% recycled water bottles, and then also 100% ethically sourced wood and sustainably sourced wood. So these are really exciting. These are on your website as well. I believe they're on sale, which is really
They
exciting.
are on sale. We were looking at that earlier. So anybody who needs some recycled canvas, go check that out.
And just for timing purposes, I covered these in the acrylic gouache again. The gouache is not necessary. It's really just because these are dark surfaces, and when we're recording, sometimes those dark surfaces can have a sheen to them, so I just wanted them to be a little bit more matte. So the gouache is great for that. But you can use the basics. You do not have to buy another thing if you don't have to.
Trying to keep this very simple.
Ah, stunning.
Little turtle.
All right, great.
I
Well,
gotta cut it out. I know. Thank you.
we all had faith.
You have a question though?
Yeah, Susan on Facebook was wondering, do you need to gesso the paper or the canvas first to use these, or can you, like, what kind of surface prep do you need to do?
Yeah, I would suggest gessoing. It really depends. I mean, acrylic doesn't necessarily need the gesso as much as, like, per se an oil that'll eat into the paper. So acrylic, it would be perfectly fine if you didn't. The reason that I like to gesso is so that way you kind of have an easier bond, so it's not necessarily, your first layers aren't being absorbed into the surface, right? So if you have an unprimed canvas, that first layer is going to kind of get absorbed into the canvas. Same with paper. So if you want something that's a little bit more of kind of a easy first layer, a little bit more of like impact on the surface, then you can gesso them, but you don't have to by any stretch of the imagination. And a lot of times it can be nice to have something that absorbs into the surface first, or purely just absorbs into the surface. Sorry, Emmy.
No, you are fine.
Reach
I
on
just wanted to kind of
over.
get that out of the way so that we would be a little bit
Awesome.
more centered. But now that we are going to start actually painting on our canvases here.
Yes. Okay, so you can apply your paints in any way with a stencil, obviously. This is really kind of up to you. You can go kind of the thrifty way and using a rag or whatever else you have lying around. I love my paint rags just because they also become tools. So I might dip into, so we have our traditional basics here, and then we have our metallic basics here. So I'm gonna dip into this really nice violet tone. So this is the metallic purple, and then I'm gonna actually just dab for the first.
So silly.
Cute!
I am tempted to give him a hat, not gonna lie. Oh, I am so sorry. I'm gonna wait until you are done, but I am gonna ask for the other canvas, right?
Absolutely. Or you can actually put yours right on here as well if
Oh,
you
perfect.
like.
Yeah.
We can share a surface. Could
A
be
flower
little
and a
fun.
turtle. Love it.
Absolutely.
We're making a masterpiece.
You bet. Do one
that's
more
fun.
little dab. You know what? I might not even do the dab. What I might do is then work in with my palette knife. I'm gonna
Love that.
scoop. And let's see if we can go. You know, maybe we should go down. That's nice. That is satisfying. Delish.
Actually, we're going to just scooch you over as well, just a little bit. Whenever you're done with that, finish your petal first. Aha! That way we can, I think it's, there we go. A little bit more on camera. We're going to do
Gorge.
another petal? Or?
You know what? Let's add a turtle.
Okay, we're going to do a turtle. All right, so I usually personally would wait for that to dry. But we're going
Absolutely.
to just jump straight in. Actually, I'm going to just take this and kind of trim it down a little. So that way I'm actually not going to hit your flower. How about that? And I will put that over to the side so I can reuse. So I'm going to put my little turtle down here.
Cute.
It's going to look like a flower is growing out of a turtle. I love it. Okay, so we also have those little paddle brushes too.
Absolutely.
I
So
can
we
use
got
that. So let's
two
use
of these
this.
sizes here.
So I like that because especially for like stencils, it's got the stiffness to it, and you can kind of dab at it. So I'm going to go. Of course, we got to go green. Then I'm going to try and give myself a variation. So I'm going to go light green on the top, and then more of a teal here, going into the base and the legs.
Fab. A lot of folks will ask, like, what is the appropriate tool for X, Y, and Z? And I think oftentimes it's much more about kind of what you want visually, right? There's not necessarily a rule for any of these. Like, there's different shapes of the paintbrushes, there are different shapes and sizes of whatever else. And typically what we're kind of working with is, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? When we are talking about opacity, what's going to like lay on the most amount of paint, maybe it's going to be something that we want it to be more flat. So using something that has more of a flat edge that can carry like a palette knife, that's a great moment. If you want something that has a little bit more texture, like what Emmy's going for, having multiple bristles, I mean, come on, that's the best.
That's so
right?
fun.
And to be able to even see something like the dabbing with the towel versus then having the palette knife, you can see even just with the same color how different those are.
Yeah, you can actually see on the camera there, it's reflecting so much more because it's hitting, the light is hitting that that raised surface a little bit more. But then as you rotate it, it can actually change that quite.
Yes.
Oh, it's so pretty. I'm distracted by the shiny, sorry.
I know, it really is wild. And then also see
And it's
here.
so opaque.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. The coverage is insane because I was just dabbing just a little bit. I was tempted to use my palette knife, but my palette knife might be...
just a little big. Just a little.
We wanted to go for the gusto here.
And so along with this, then also thinking about your drawing time, you can then keep your stencils on hand, and then if you wanted to go back in, let's say that you wanted to add either more details or even just keep that crisp edge, you can always keep both, right? You keep your stencil, and then you keep your painting, you allow for yourself to work in, and there's something really exciting about being able to layer and keeping a consistent edge, if you will. You know, maybe even looking at,
Really fun.
I don't know, maybe we can even try this girl.
Oh, okay. That was good. Now we're good.
We're good. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Experimentation. I love it.
There it is. Alright, so then having an edge like this,
Do you want palette knife?
I kind of do. Let's see. Oh my gosh, this is really the most. Okay, let's see.
Go big or go home, right?
Of course. Oh my god.
And that might be due to the size of the palette knife, making it a little difficult.
The smallest stencil and the largest palette knife.
Yes.
Good.
I love it. It's perfect.
And so having something that also has kind of an intense edge, but then having a consistent edge, right? So then you can have something that feels more organic, but then multiplies. There's something kind of fab about that too. It doesn't have to all be so crisp, if you will. I'll give you back this machete, if you will. And so now that we have this, I also then want to kind of think about, for those who maybe already have an acrylics painting practice, maybe you have quite a few acrylics at home, maybe you have the basics, maybe you have the professionals line, and you want to incorporate your metallics, or these metallics, into your palette. So the first that we may do...
I'm gonna actually not be a terrible artist, and I'm gonna clean this brush while you're talking.
Good for you. That's great. I know. I usually think
Everyone be
about
proud
that the day later, and I'm like, oh my god, that is solid. That's a brick. So thank you so much, Envy, for doing that. And so what I was thinking about as well is thinking about these paints as embellishment, right? Thinking about them as having already what we have the sheen of our basics acrylics. So this whole painting was done in our basics line.
So pretty.
Without any of the iridescence yet. Yeah. So you have like this really nice sheen all the way across, but it's not the shine or the sparkle of the mica. It's just from the acrylic resin. And so what we can do then is
and that was specifically because you have the gouache in the background that's super flat.
Yes.
So that's why you guys are seeing that difference in sheen, which is so fun.
If you don't have the gouache, you don't necessarily want the gouache, but you do want to mattify your paints, you could always then buy the matte medium, and that way then if you want that shift, but maybe you don't want to buy individual colors, or maybe you're just like, you know what, I would like to keep my colors, but sometimes I want to matte, not all the time. Having that matte medium around is really helpful. That's fun. Same with the gloss medium. So if you kind of want to go both ways, that's a really exciting thing. I know we talked about that last time with the bio-based
being able to
as well.
Adjust that sheen.
Exactly.
From 0 to 100. It's so fun. So you are going to just add just a touch of sparkle to this.
I'm just going to add, thinking about like, where can we go to give ourselves a little pizzazz, you know? And so I am working with this metallic green, And at this point, I have this green here. I'm also kind of thinking about contrast as well. So we see this kind of shift of the leaf here, and we already have a highlight, but I think that with the highlight, we can then also play with an edge.
That is so pretty.
That is just so nice. And then we even, because it does have a body, it's a medium body, but it does have a little body. We can create a little bit of like a rim.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like you're actually, with that brush, kind of pushing the paint and creating an edge.
Exactly.
Which emphasizes the edge of that leaf even further.
Yes.
Which is so fun.
And so even just something like this, where it's just kind of like that. Is that getting it? Oh yeah, right there. Fab. And so you can really see that nice little shimmer that's happening throughout here. That also then pushes the light contrast that we have, right? So we have this really nice highlight going on that then with then the shift of the gestalt or that line, we then get to use that metallic to have something that feels even more, I don't know, just gives it a little something special.
A little extra.
A little extra. We wouldn't know anything about extra, Emmy.
What? You don't know.
No, never.
We love sparkle.
And so we were talking a little bit about having our iridescence already within the basics as well. So this is our iridescent white. Now, what's different about the iridescent white is that it is half opaque, right? So
Yes.
it's not transparent and it's not fully opaque. All of our metallics, our basics metallics from this line are opaque. They are really, really punchy.
Yes.
What I like about the white being a half opaque or a half transparent is that sometimes white can swallow. Just the nature of the pigment can really swallow your colors, and they can also kind of desaturate a little bit.
Makes them look chalky and kind of unalive.
Yeah, and I
it's-
think
yeah, they can really kill it.
Right, and I think because these paints, like their saturation, their opacity is kind of like something I really want to highlight here, I'm just going to go in with a little bit of my white, give myself a nice little pool. And remember, this has some of that mica in it, so it's not going to disperse or somewhat dilute the shimmer. And then, you know what?
So you're going to keep the shimmer, but you're kind of bringing that opacity down?
Yes, and I'm kind of almost creating like a glaze because of the nature of this iridescent white. You're not necessarily having the intense opacity of like what's going on here, right? Which is like a true layer on top.
Yeah.
This is going to be almost like a shimmer that then also introduces a veil of color and not necessarily just a wall.
I like that. So you're using the iridescent white as a almost like a medium.
Almost, yeah. And I think that like the transparent white kind of gets slept on a little bit, you know, because a lot of times like we're like, oh, you know what? It feels more expensive to have something really opaque or heavy pigment load, and I get it, but there's something really great about playing with those opacities and playing with the transparencies to be able to offer a new way of working.
There's in my opinion, I feel like there's definitely a time and place for either of those.
Definitely.
Where you get that opacity and you can play with it, but then having that transparency really does help you kind of push and pull. And yeah, having that iridescent white where it's got that, you know, semi-opaque quality to it. Yeah, having that is, it feels like a game changer, being able to play with that.
Definitely. And sometimes it can be a little scary to introduce like a highlight, you know, and then you're like, whoa, that's a lot. So having something that's a little bit more transparent can help to build up your whites and not just be such a bold move.
Yeah. So I know you just laid that down like in 2 seconds, but on the camera, you see how that is just shining now?
Yes.
That is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
How exciting is that, right? Because like you can see where I haven't added them. So I've added it here and I've added it here. Right, and so you can see the highlights of just the white of the typical basics white here, but that shimmer just goes like a different moment.
It just makes it even better.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli!
Holy
that
cannoli
is so.
indeed.
That is like instant gratification right there. Gotta love that.
Yeah, I might even go like a little heavier because I got excited about that response.
That is so. Listen, that's the cool thing about these paints is that they don't completely contract down with that kind of that in-between body. And you can keep a little bit of that texture.
Yes, and I mean, I think that iridescent white is really a wonderful addition for this kind of mark making.
Yeah, just in that exact spot that you have that canvas, even that highlight right there on that leaf is shining. That is so satisfying.
Totally, and this is like an exciting, this is a solid form, right? And this is a transparent form, and so we get to kind of see it in two different ways, right? It's like a true highlight, if you will, and then as something that almost like offers a little more body, and it offers like almost like a surprise. Right? And I think that there's something really fabulous about this, that there are a lot of really kind of great applications to this in terms of craft, in terms of like keeping it as its body, but this is also like a painterly medium. And I think that what this line offers is for you to introduce these metallic colors into a traditional or an acrylic palette, right? And so to really kind of think of it as like, oh, this is a new way to consider outside of value, of mixed value, how to maybe offer something to the surface, right? Offer something that feels just a little bit of a glimmer, a little special surprise that I'm always excited about.
I feel like if I had this framed on the wall and I walked past it, like that shimmer would definitely catch my eye and I would have to just stop and look at it again.
Exactly.
Beautiful in a gallery when that happens.
Because this doesn't look that different once you like put it into a similar lighting condition as it was before. Like if you go here, right, this looks pretty much the same as it did, right?
Does.
We didn't change it.
And then as soon as that light hits it, that shimmer will just catch your eye, and then you go, what was that?
Ugh, gorge. Right, and then it really just gets like, I don't know, it allows you to get thinking. You're like, oh, what is that? Right, like I think that anything that makes me like kind of feel like, oh, that's like a little special thing. I wonder how they did that.
I have to ask for those watching, what would you guys be painting with all these beautiful colors? Because in my brain, I immediately go bugs. I want to paint bugs.
Definitely bugs.
When we started, Alan on Facebook was saying he wants to incorporate them into a hummingbird he wants to, and I was like, oh, yes, please.
Feathers.
Man, the feathers on that. Yes.
Yeah, peacock feathers, hummingbirds, for sure.
There's definitely, I cannot remember whatever bird that was, but it's almost like a rainbow color where it's got like a red head and chest, and like the back is like greens and blues, and it's really such a gorgeous, there's a lot of really, really beautiful animals out there, and I feel like this, even like these, like the yellow and the orange would be incredible to add to fur for like lions and cheetahs. That would be incredible. And then I'm not going Lisa Frank with it. I'm just talking about these two colors here to keep it more in that realistic tone, but have that shimmer going throughout the fur. That would be stunning.
Absolutely. And I think like kind of being able to see like shimmer in a different way, right? Like if something is wet, or if if something has, you know, I mean, like even like pigeons have that really beautiful like chest. That
Michaelia's here. Michaelia made it to the show.
I love them so much. I mean, living in New York, it's like, you know, it's whatever. But then you see them, and there is that like glimmer where you're like, wow, that was.
I gotta ask, as somebody who used to live in New York, do you have your favorite pigeon?
You know,
side
I
note.
do.
I had my favorite pigeon too.
The white with like the black tips, like the little like kind of edges.
Okay, I meant like a specific one.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay,
I didn't even know they had specific.
I have one. No, I meant like I have a specific pigeon that used to always get on the train, the 4 train with me, and it would ride a couple stops and then it would get off, and like every morning, it was the same pigeon. It was missing the same toes. I swear it was the same pigeon.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And I think they're watching.
I called him Nubs.
Yeah. We do have pigeons in the vestibule.
That is a very beautiful, like, where it's, because I think they're actually in the dove family, but yes.
Yeah, I think they're kind of the same.
That would be,
doves are fancier.
I'm just saying, like, these colors right here would be immediate pigeon.
Ooh, also, we got a suggestion of a goldfish.
Stunning.
With a little glimmer.
Yeah. Under, like,
beta fish.
Undersea, yeah.
Oh my God.
For sure. They're like really deep sea, like luminescence. Sick.
Yes.
And then also, you can think about the shimmer being also a base, right? So, for example, we have this like really nice a mix of colors that we can kind of see the slate color here.
Yeah.
Now, I can't really remember, so thank goodness for Michaelia coming together, because I was just like, oh, that would be a cool gray.
I think it's kind of,
pretty
yeah, in this
positive we're
realm.
in, like, we're, like, in this moment here.
Yeah.
Possibly even in this moment,
Yeah.
right? So
It's like,
they're the same.
so it's like, yeah, when you add, it is actually, you're right. That's the blue
Oh
and the
my
red.
God.
This is it. There are some repeat colors in here, but I will say when you add that orange to the blue, you should also get mud. And I think this one, if you add more orange, I don't know. I would have to. Let's play. Can I have a brush, please?
You bet.
You have them over there.
I have plenty.
I just want to try and mix a muddy kind of gray situation. Oh, I have paint on me. Oh no. I'm a very clean painter. You guys know this.
Ooh, you know what?
Weirds me out. I'm gonna take.
Let's go to this Naples. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding in a basics non-metallic on top of the luster, right? So what I might even
that's
do
kind of
is do a
green.
little bit more of a dry brush to create almost like the highlights in the clouds.
Yes. So yeah, that orange leans a little bit more yellow than it does, like, I feel like a true orange. Although it is still such a beautiful orange. But that blue, I think, just also leans a little bit more towards green than like a purpley kind of blue. So when they mix together, they make a definite kind of more green color. So to combat that, if I add just a little bit of this red, that might bring this down to like a neutrally gray. There it is.
Nice.
Fun.
That's really great.
Color theory. You work with your primaries.
Exactly.
You should be able to. This is after years and years and years of playing with colors.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it's just so
Ooh.
exciting. So here
That's
we
fun.
are. What we're doing is that we're adding in the highlights as a value, but the shimmer exists underneath. So it's almost, I guess, I don't know, like the silver lining of a cloud, right? That the
Yeah.
shimmer exists underneath.
Oh, so you're glazing on top of the shimmer to kind of allow that to kind of just
So I'm
be
glazing
subtle undertones.
Exactly, I'm glazing with the typical basics, with the traditional basics.
That's really fun.
So that way the shimmer gets to exist as a base. I think sometimes,
Yeah.
especially with like sparkle, it feels more tertiary or on top. So this is a fun way to kind of almost like shift that.
and push it backwards a little bit.
Right. And
like
then,
that.
especially with dry brushing, you then can have like some of the shimmer still exist in some of these like thinner areas.
Yeah.
You can go even a little bit further. I know we have a question. So
Yes, we have
I'll
a
stop
question?
Yeah,
babbling.
Gigi was wondering if they shift darker as they dry.
You know, it depends on the color, and shift darker is a little trickier. We can really see
Yeah, I was gonna say
here.
Yeah, because we had I was like, where do we have dry paint? Here, actually, let me pull this down a little bit. Yeah, we rotate that. So we have like the green.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull this up. There's the green. It's hard to also get this in the right lighting because of that mica. I'm trying to get it to where it's not reflecting as much. There's the aqua green.
Mm-hmm.
There's the blue. There's the purple. There's the magenta. The red. The orange. And the yellow gold.
I feel like if you turn it one, it's almost in line.
That's where it's like, it's pretty, oh, wait, yeah, you would be right. Amanda, with her sassiness, love you.
So they're pretty close.
You said that well, no, I got to the end, didn't you? Yeah, no, I would say they are pretty much on point as far as like the colors are
Right.
concerned.
And here you're also seeing the body, right? So you're seeing a shift in the light as well, where these are much more flat. But overall, they're pretty close. I
Yeah.
would say that they don't really change a huge amount from dry to wet.
Yeah. Which is a great question when it comes to acrylics. Sometimes you can get a pretty large shift when it comes to that acrylic binder drying, because acrylic binders happen to be kind of milky white, so they can appear a little bit lighter. So then as that water evaporates and it dries clear, now you're just seeing the pigment and the mica,
Yes.
but there's not that shift here.
Well,
Not really.
And pigment, and remember, pigment is it's like an umbrella term for a multitude of things, whether they be organic, synthetic, where do they come from, and how do they react when they're wet versus when they're dry, right? They're suspended in water, and then the acrylic resin we're talking about. So kind of depends. Here, they're pretty close, I would say.
And
like,
it's just so punchy, like.
I know. They're delish. I mean, it's really exciting. And it's even seeing the body, that again, these are medium body, but they really are able to kind of hold on their own. And I mean, even looking at that sampler over here, you can see that they have this really nice capability of holding their own body, right? And even if you wanted to add some either like a medium, like a heavy body medium or something along the lines of that, you could. Now remember that when you're working with something or you're adding to these colors, you are essentially making the mica spread further. So you are going to see less quote-unquote sparkle the more that you add to these paints. Right? So it can be like, oh, you know what, maybe I just have to be aware of that, or it can actually be to your advantage, which is what we're going to talk about right now.
I'm just trying to spread
I like what you're doing over there. You keep going.
I'm just squishing it down a little bit.
Oh, and I'm not sure if I showed this yet, but something kind of nice about this is that what happens is that this almost becomes like tricks our eye into thinking that this is a highlight, even though this is actually reflecting light. It turns into something that's almost like it feels opposite of how you should see them. So I think if anything, this is a really exciting way to consider how to also work with the basics, the traditional line, or traditional acrylics in general, with these as maybe your surface, right? So if you want to have the shimmer underneath, and then allowing for the paint to build on top, that's also potential. And even just having this shimmer that's much more transparent with this, so exciting.
Yeah. No, I'm very, very excited. Do we have any other additional like things that we would paint come through the chats? I don't know if we had. Because I am curious what everybody else out there would paint with these, because these are stunning.
They're really stunning. It's the
I'm
best.
just over here squishing paint around, just enjoying these metallics. Oh,
thank you so much.
A little bit further over here. I'm hogging the water. I'm sorry.
Just wanted to get closer.
Here we go.
So now what I kind of want to talk to you about is advanced feels like having this as difficulties feels silly. It's just much more about like maybe something that feels a little bit more. You have to plan this one out a little bit more.
Yeah,
right?
Planned feels like a right term.
Yes.
As opposed to a little bit more
sporadic,
quick and like kind of like stampy, where it just feels a little bit. It does feel a little bit more advanced.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
So what we're going to do is think about how we can mix our traditional acrylics with our metallic acrylics in order to create almost like a shift in shine, or have almost a differentiation in shine depending on where the painting is, right? So instead of painting directly on top or having underneath, we're going to mix our traditional basics with our metallic basics in certain ratios in order to get areas that are more shiny, not shiny at all, or have none of the mica powder at all, or purely the mica powder, and so we have like this really interesting range.
Yeah.
And so what I might suggest is, like, for example, like the stem, right?
Okay.
We can think about our local color, which maybe is this like really fabulous
That's the lime green, right?
lime green
It's
here.
just-
I'm
look
going to
at this
introduce
crazy.
a little bit
It is
of
so pretty. So this is not opaque and it's not transparent. It's that in between.
semi-opaque.
Semi-opaque.
I'm going to get a little bit more.
Ooh, that's pretty.
I'm going to get a little bit of that.
Little Naples yellow. So that's, we have the turquoise blue as well. And then this is the brilliant purple. And then we have the cadmium red deep hue, and then the Naples yellow, and that's that iridescent white.
Right.
For anybody out there wondering what's on our palette.
And so what I'm going to do is mix in some of this metallic green into this. And you'll see that there is a little shimmer, right? But it's not to here, right? So if anything, you get to also, along with thinking about your colors, you get to also think about the ratio of shimmer in a way, right?
Yeah, no, like how much sparkle would you like? Because it doesn't have to be 100%. It could be 20.
Right, and then you can, as well as thinking about your values per se, or where you have highlights, then you can also think about how much of the metallics you are using to then also create that shift of form, right? Making it feel like illusory space, or like light is actually hitting it.
Love it. No, do we have a question?
Yeah, just before we end, at some point, can we talk about disposal of the water and everything, how you clean up when you're done?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So very typical to all the rest of our acrylics, what I would suggest is making sure that you get your rag. So if, for example, if I was cleaning off right now, I would just wipe off as much as I can onto a reusable rag. Keep that, again, like these rags, as we used with the stencils, they could be tools. You can use a rag over and over and over and over and over and over again. Let it dry on here, and then maybe use it for something else, right?
And once it gets enough paint on there, you just collage it straight in.
Exactly.
You know?
Paint right on top of it. Get some medium and stick it right on there.
Stretch it on some canvas.
From
Stretch
there, once you have wiped off as much as you can from the brush, what I would typically suggest is then in a cup, get as much of that off as you can,
Like
and throughout
water.
here to
Just regular water.
regular
Nothing crazy.
water. And then you should be set. I would always suggest with your brushes, so with your brushes, don't put them up like this, because what can happen is that water gets stuck into where the hairs and the glue for the hairs are. There's a name for it. I can't remember.
The ferrule.
The ferrule. I knew you would know.
I'm very familiar with ferrules.
And what'll happen is that shedding can occur, right? Or it also just kind of has like a permanent bad hair day.
Yeah,
So-
it can Cynthia on you.
It
We
can
don't
Cynthia.
like that.
Cynthia the doll,
Yes.
not the Arivo. Yeah.
Yes, Cynthia from, oh my goodness, what was that?
Rugrats.
Rugrats, yeah. I was like, I know the doll, but clearly I cannot remember which cartoon it was from. They all blend together in my childhood. So,
Exactly.
but now if you guys are trying to dispose of the water, the one thing I always suggest is either there are things called crash kits, which if you just collect the water, it's a mix in that will solidify all of the gunk and everything to the bottom of that. You pour off the clean water. You can use it to, water your plants or throw it out in the yard, whatever it may be. The solidified gunk at the bottom, it has instructions as well, but that you can dispose in the trash. Otherwise, you could actually just take this, pour it straight into kitty litter, and now it's a solid. And then you
There
can
you
just
go.
throw that away. That is a really, really easy way of disposing it without having to buy an additional kit or do anything fancy. You just utilize kitty litter.
And really, like, the biggest thing you want to do is get, like, the major solids off your brush.
Yeah.
So it's so little. Like, for example, if you can't be bothered and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do all that. I can say I'm going to do all of that. I hear you. I understand you. Get as much as you possibly can
Yeah.
off, so you're not getting that acrylic resin into the water, and you're not introducing any of the pigments into the water, or as few as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And you should be fine. I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a small amount once you've really wiped this out that you're good to go.
Yeah. We have another question?
Yes, Gwendolyn on YouTube was wondering if you knew where Liquitex sourced their mica from. that
You
they
know,
use.
that's a great question. And there is, either you can email them. I know that there's a contact line. I believe there's also a hotline. So if you call, because again, they are a B Corp, they will have an answer for you.
I love this.
So it's really kind of fabulous. So you'll probably either talk to one of the chemists. You may even talk to Jimmy, the resident artist.
Love Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy, if you're
and-
watching.
Hi, Jimmy. I'll talk to you soon. And they will let you know all you need to know in terms of resourcing, sourcing, all that good stuff.
for sure.
I feel very proud of that aspect of the company for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty amazing that they go through this extremely rigorous process to make sure that these materials are sourced correctly and are sourced sustainably, or just at least environmentally ethically. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I feel it's a big deal for me.
It's important for all of us. I
Totally.
think it's, the future of our world.
So,
That
I
is
know.
looking stunning.
I know
Those
we're,
colors
like,
are so fun.
Running a little low on time, so I just
We
want to
are?
make
Oh,
sure.
Getting
but-
close, but we
So-
still have 10 minutes.
Oh, stunning.
So you have plenty of time.
And so what we can
Panic
see, the only kind of painting.
Exactly.
And so what you can see is that our local
Ooh.
color had a little bit of the sheen, so it still has some some shimmer. But
do that all the time.
then we also then have a ratio that has more of the true metallic green inside of it. And so you have this really nice, even without adding any white or any of our kind of lightening agents, you are able to start to accomplish a sense of shift, a sense of light shift, just by the shimmer itself, which is
Love
kind of
that.
fab.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go in
That's so fun.
with my burlier brush, just get my bristles wet. I don't want to introduce too much water here.
Oh,
but
there's a little purple in there.
good. Get a little purple in the flower.
I was gonna say, are we painting a purple flower?
We
or
might. Let's do a little.
Ooh.
Let's see.
I know the options. The
I know.
options.
You can see me being like, oh.
That's really pretty. I love that cadmium red deep hue.
Me too.
It's pretty.
Now remember, the white we're using today is an iridescent white, so it is going to have some shimmer, but that mica is going to be dispersed a little bit more sparingly because we have the two traditional basics here. I might even do just a touch of water, which will also disperse the mica a little bit more as well. What I might even start to play around with is thinking about my light source coming from this angle, so I might even just get a little bit of like a shift. Some flicks of the wrist going on.
I love a solid flat, like a flat brush.
Me
For this
too.
exact reason, so you can get that sharp edge when you want to.
Exactly.
I will say those brushes are really nice because they have a nice snap to them, so that flick of the wrist really does give you a fun brush stroke.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times people will ask me, especially students, will ask me, like, what are the necessary brushes? I would say the brushes that I find necessary are the ones that can do multiple tasks.
Yes.
Right? So for this, for example, having a flat head's really great because you have something that's able to accomplish more broad strokes, but as Emmy was saying, you also have kind of that snap. So you go to a much thinner brush and a thicker brush all in one, which is stunning.
I love that. That's why I switch back and forth between flats and filberts all of the time. I will grab a round if I am trying to do little tiny details just because I know I need that consistent round sharp point. But that's usually I go for a flat and a filbert. I'll bounce back and forth between those.
Definitely. And so all I'm doing now is also kind of taking advantage of the fact that I have a darker surface. So I am working with kind of a thinner layer of paint here. And we have that sheen, so it's a little hard to see. There we go.
Yeah.
Right, so what we can see is that the darks get introduced, but then you can see the mica dispersion here.
Yeah.
Right, and then you see down here that it's really shiny. So you can really see the difference in the dispersion of the shimmer of that
for
mica.
Sure. And I love that you're taking advantage of the fact of like the thicker the paint, the more that's going to have that buildup of mica. So it's already giving you that sense of light source from here and a really wonderful kind of form to the petal.
Totally.
Love it.
Love it. So then maybe what I'll do is, without washing my brush, because I do want to kind of keep this mother color in there.
I am curious to see how much shinier this is going to be.
It's going to be...
I'm so excited.
It's going to be a moment for sure. And so again, kind of considering where that form, where that light is going to hit, based off of what we've done here, it's probably going to be more in kind of this space here. So kind of getting at like the formal lift.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And then we're doing kind of just like this wet on wet color mixing.
That's pretty.
And look at that sheen, right? So like this really has an intense sheen. And then there's like a secondary sheen that's really exciting to play with.
Yeah.
Right? That's like a little wild to see on camera too, because it's like really shiny and
It's
then
that instant
disappears.
gratification because you can like it's a weird thing to see it on camera because we have a camera screen right in front of us where we can see this and how it reflects that light. So seeing it in person and then seeing that really the different viewpoint from the camera is, I feel like it's helpful as an artist, which is wild, but it's so fun to see the difference. But you know, the more I shift around, like I don't want to be sitting there going like this the whole show, but I really do. Because it's just a change of perspective just gives you a blast of shine, which is so fun.
Exactly. And so even kind of playing around a little bit more, we can even, at this moment too, I could even just dip right into this metallic magenta. And as Emmy was saying too, like where are the height of my petals, right? And thinking about also like the veins of the petals, I can then kind of even just play with a little bit more. Kind of carried away, see where the differentiation of those petals can exist. And this is just straight with that paint here. And it really just offers such a romantic, and again, there's not really any white added to this area. This is just that.
That's straight magenta mica combination. It's the metallic magenta.
Exactly.
I'm getting so distracted with the shiny. It's so pretty.
And so even just like the
I
little
love
moments
it.
where if you want to get like really kind of like chiaroscuro romantic, like really intense, you can even go into the background areas and just kind of introduce some accents. There's something kind of fun about even just having something really romantic as like the stroke itself.
I love that variation that you're getting though. That's so fun.
Absolutely, and I think that if anything, you can also then, if you feel like, oh, you know what, maybe everything feels very shiny, maybe it just like all got a little bit too carried away, going back in, and it goes the opposite direction as well, right? As we were working with here, you can always go back in with your more traditional basics to then bring back the more matte quality so that you can kind of push and pull just as you would with your values, right? Allowing for yourself to kind of play around with this as well. So it's like, it's another added visual element of the painting that feels really complex. You know, I think that sometimes like, oh, it's sparkly paint, but there's something really like complex and exciting about the potential of where this could go. Especially like one of the viewers was talking about feathers, right? And especially having like a long form where some aspects of that feather wouldn't have sheen, right? So thinking about your colors and how they would work with each other so you can apply this light source in a way that if you were just working with your traditional acrylics, maybe you wouldn't be able to accomplish.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to play with these more. I know I'm gonna go get all of these as soon as I possibly can.
Yes.
Because I am gonna need all of these colors. But for everybody out there watching, please let me know which one is your favorite, because I am so curious. And if you do get a chance to play with these, please make sure you post it on any social media and tag us. It's at JerrysArtarama, no matter what the platform is, and we just love to see your artwork and see what you guys create. And then, of course, I will always make sure that you get to see it as well.
I love it. Please, 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 because it's so exciting to see what you all are able to do. Like I'm one person making like a few paintings, so to see what you all are doing is the best.
It really does make us so happy. And also, as a secondary option, if you do also want to post it to our Jerry's Life Facebook group, it is a group over on Facebook that is free to join. It has, I think, over 7,000 members now.
Amazing.
Everybody from a professional artist to hobbyist to people that just really appreciate art. It's a really fun, very creative group over there, and just make sure you answer that one security question in order to get in. But it is free to join over there, and I would love for you guys to post your art over there as well, because it's so fun.
Tag Liquitex as well. We would love to see.
Yes, definitely tag Liquitex and JerrysArtarama.
Absolutely.
But that was the show. Thank you so much for being on with me.
Thank you. This is so fun, as always.
It's always so fun to see the new medias and everything, because I wanted to know more about these, and now having you on here, and I get that like insider information. Love this. But everybody, please give Cam a round of applause in the comments, and hit those heart buttons and hit the like buttons, because he did an amazing job with the presentation. As Katie's over there clapping like this. I love it. But make sure you also join us next week. I will be back, and I'm going to be making little mini art and talking about pricing artwork and kind of the business side of art.
Oh my gosh.
A little bit more. It's going to be really fun, and I'm going to be creating a little gummy bear, so it'll be blast. But I will see you guys next week, and that was the show. So are you ready to dance off?
I thought you'd never
We're going to go that way, and before we do, I have to...
It's
This
movie
is
magic.
everybody's favorite part of the show where they see exactly how tall I actually am. Yeah, this is real. Okay, time to dance.
All right.
Bye everybody. Have a great week. Bye.